Mula, I'm DJ Toro. Join me every Monday to Thursday, 7 until midnight. The premium classics on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, minimum wage survey to be complete well before November deadline. More than 80% of sugarcane leases renewed by ILTB. And LTA audits over 1,000 buses after spate of fires. Welcome to FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. The National Minimum Wage Rate Survey is likely to be complete by November. The report, commissioned by the Ministry of Labour, will set the platform for Fiji's first ever national minimum wage. Edwin Nand has more.
The Labour Ministry has tasked Commerce Commission Chair Dr. Mahendra Reddy and a group of volunteers with collating data on the national minimum wage.
The survey is on its final stages. Once that's completed, then we'll do the necessary analysis. But we're targeting completion and submission of the report to Ministry of Labour well before November.
Since May, 88 volunteers have been going around the country, visiting randomly selected workers, asking them some basic questions about what they do and how much they get paid. 17,000 people from various sectors of the workforce and with different salary scales were chosen for this survey. This was done to ensure that the research collects as wide a range of information as possible.
The purpose of the research was twofold. One is to look at the socio-economic condition of those workers engaged in the various sectors of the economy. Second is to ascertain what is the kind of wage rate that they are getting, what is the status of the households that they come from, and based on that, we then look at what is the economic scenario and what should be the minimum wage, national minimum wage, where should we peg the national minimum wage.
Once the report is complete, it will be handed to the Labour Ministry and then begins the work of formulating a minimum wage for all employees in Fiji. This will have to be endorsed by Cabinet before it becomes effective. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
The Tokay Land Trust Board is living up to its commitment in helping the sugar industry as much as possible. Since 2008, 80% of all expiring leases have been renewed. However, as Vosita Kote Wasawasa reports, the board has found that some farmers aren't making full use for their leases.
The Tokay Land Trust Board has been working closely with the Committee for Better Utilization of Land, with only 20% of expiring leases left to be processed.
A lot of work has been done because the government has already paid TLTB for the landowners over $25 million from 2008 to now. That's a significant amount which shows the actual work that has gone on the ground.
Getaki says as stakeholders in the industry, they've realized the need to improve sugar production, and while they're doing their part, farmers need to step up.
The TLTB believes that farmers need to change their attitude towards cane farming. They need to look at cane farming as a business, not a part-time job, not something that they had to do only during their free time or at will, but it's something that has to be looked at as a business. Secondly, they need to get the best field advice.
The TLTB has committed to making more land available for agriculture needs, and sugarcane farming is top on their list. Wasita Kote Wasawasa, FBC News.
The three-day Small Islands Developing States meeting in Nadi has been hailed a success. The meeting ended last night with priorities set out on what needs to be done to better the region. Sharin Lata reports.
As preparations in the lead up to the Small Island Developing States in Samoa next year, the Pacific leaders met to discuss issues affecting our part of the world. These included climate change, natural disasters, poverty alleviation, and the proper management of resources.
Despite the diversity of issues that confront our different island countries, I am proud of the spirit in which you have agreed and crafted the language of the outcome document to appropriately reflect the needs of our people in a simple yet concise, action-oriented and forward-looking manner.
Secretary General for the Third International Conference on Small Island Developing States, Wu Hongbo, says it was important to discuss what needs to be done at this stage due to new challenges emerging each year. Sustainable developments was also part of the agenda. Pacific small island states were told that high rates of violence against women and girls and low political participation simply means regional countries are not benefiting from women's full potential.
Along with the means of implementation, you identified the importance of national enabling environment and partnerships as an important part of the process. With respect to partnerships, the message on equitable partnerships was well received.
Other topics included human trafficking, the need for better governance, better social protection, and the preservation of traditional cultures and practices. Shahin Lata, FBC News.
The Land Transport Authority has audited 1,000 buses around the country to ensure they're safe for public use. LTA Chief Executive Naisa Tuinadeva has been visiting bus owners in the Central and Western Divisions this past week, telling them of the authority's zero tolerance on non-compliance and unsafe buses. Mika Longa reports.
Incidents like these has prompted the LTA to put its foot down and make a stand that all bus companies must strictly adhere to the quality assurance maintenance system.
It's harsh, but the agreement is we need to do it. We need to do it. We need to move forward.
Tunadeva says there's been enough talk. Bus owners now need to be responsible for the daily inspection of their fleet, other than relying on mechanics to do it for them.
Because of the urgency and the importance of having this kind of systems to control the breakdowns and even fire cases was, to have this instantly.
Part of the stringent conditions now taken by the LTA is the certification of buses by an accredited electrician, training of drivers in first aid and fire drills.
By the end of this year, will be more than 100 brand new buses on the road. That is just within the 12 months from now. That's a great achievement and a step forward.
Tunadeva will be visiting bus owners in the Northern Division next week. Mikalonga, FBC News.
Coming up, new eatery opens for business in the capital city, promising a Fijian experience.
How would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this. Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the morning ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Seed Music.
Nimbula, methango nimilote na isoro tambua. Nama kia uminarua kina ona na via kavi moniti kina whakarombuka. Rongo mena via sana kina vibaga barota kinindre komalolo. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na wongani via niano. Ngai nama kia kina.
Welcome back to FBC News. The National Fire Authority has found that there are a lot more property fires during the rainy season. Speaking on Gold FM Speak Your Mind earlier this week, National Fire Authority Chief Executive John O'Connor revealed during times of heavy rain, most people are inside the house. This is when the risk of fires is the greatest and can be linked to cooking or using electrical appliances.
In Fire Authority, when it's raining for 1 week or 2 weeks, we are always on alert because this is a period that we see that a lot of fires. I think most of the people are indoors, their TV are on most of the time and, nowhere to go to and you're cooking, you're watching TV and everything, and that's when most of the fires occur.
During the dry seasons, there are more rubbish and bushfires in the Northern and Western Division. Fiji Correction Services has confirmed that inmate A1M Benedito does not have access to family visitation as he's being kept in isolation. His mother, Virisieni Vakarau, spoke out earlier saying she hasn't been allowed to see her son since March this year. In a statement, the Fiji Correction Services says that Benedito is in isolation, meaning that he has no visitation rights due to the nature of the offence he committed. He is being isolated at the Maximum Correction Centre in Namboro as a result of his escape from the Suva Correction Centre in November last year. Benedito is serving a 12-month sentence handed down in January after being convicted of escaping from lawful custody, damaging property and resisting arrest. The search for two missing people has entered its third week, with police again appealing for public assistance. Krishnaswamy Naidu and Ella Blakelock were reported missing on the 21st of last month. Spokesperson Anna Naisora says they have made checks with families and relatives of the two with negative results. Naidu, who is 40 years old, is the director of Capture Fiji, while 44-year-old Blakelock is an employee. The two left Suva on the 19th of June for Lautoka on a business trip and were last seen at Field 40 that same evening. They were travelling in a yellow Hyundai registration FG762. Naisora says they have checked for financial accounts and have found that there were no transactions carried out. A new restaurant and hotel opens in the heart of Suva tonight, but the location has a long-standing history in the capital. Under new management, Devos on the Park is looking to promote local cuisine and Fijian-made products. Vosita Kotewasawasa reports.
Devos on the Park, formerly known as JJ's on the Park, had a soft opening 2 weeks ago and has already stirred a lot of interest from the public. While any new establishment would have chosen dishes and pastries with international origins, owners of this restaurant want to keep a local feel. And celebrity chef Jane King Lilo, working wonders in the kitchen, has focused on using fresh produce that's available locally.
So she's managed to come up with this great menu of locally grown produce, and one of her main features that's proven to be very popular so far is her salad bar, which covers all aspects and it has a great variety and it changes all the time.
Anne-Marie Devos says they first laid eyes on the business 2 years ago and it's been worth the investment.
I've had some really busy days and nights. It's been no media, no advertising or anything, and the response has been amazing.
Devos on the Park officially opens in about 3 hours, adding another dimension to Suva's nightlife and possibly adding to its appeal as a tourist attraction. Vosita Kotumwaswasa, FBC News.
Coming up in sports, Assemblies of God carries the hopes of Southern Zone in the secondary school rugby competition. An AFL Volleyball Tournament sets the standards for volleyball in the country.
Isambol binaka, nadang gawadi soni nalai, nama kyo mani wasini ngono borota kina lali ne kabi, mai na tolu kina bitu, ena moni dingina por rombuka, ena Bula FM, na bandu ena serre.
सूरज की पहली किरण के साथ दिन की शुरुआत कीजिए। सुबह का मंगल प्रभात आपको शुभ हो। सुबह सुबह हो खुशियों का मेला, ना लोगों की परवाह ना दुनिया का झमेला, पंछियों का संगीत हो और मौसम अलबेला, मुबारक हो आपको ये खूबसूरत सवेरा। हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक सुबह 6 से लेकर 9 बजे तक शामिल रहें रेडियो फिजी 2 पर हम सफर में रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
Taking a look at FBC Sports tonight, the DigiCup points table has opened up at the end of round 9 after games were played today. A loss for Suva today allowed Nandi to creep up to the top spot and join the capital side with 29 points. Nandronga maintained its winning form, beating Lautoka 31 points to 12, while Namosi caused the upset of the day, defeating Suva 12-8. Northland and Netasiri have also made gradual progress on the points table, following their victories this weekend. The finalists from the Southern Zone Secondary Schools competition was determined today. Not only was school pride at stake, but chasing after a better placing for the Coke Zero Deans competition later this year. Teams showed grit and determination in the various age grades, but alas, there could only be one winner.
I think they have improved week in, week out. As you can see, these were the two teams that played the finals in our zone last year, and both teams went into the national quarter, and Nasinu went into the finals of the national quarter. So again, I think it will be a repetition of last year's performance.
And here is how the final results turned out. Maris Brothers and Suva Grammar scored big wins in the under 14 and 15 respectively. Assemblies of God High School has stamped themselves as serious contenders after thrashing Nasinu Secondary in the under 19 grade. Meanwhile, Girls 7's rugby was also on display today at the Southern Zone Schools rugby competition. Organisers are hoping to increase the number of teams as well as weekly competitions. Chalindau Zakadaka reports.
It seems the recent performance of the Fijiana at the Rugby World Cup in Moscow has done wonders for women's rugby in Fiji.
Actually, we started last year, we tried it out last year, but this year there was a lot more interest of schools who have indicated their interest in sevens rugby, and today we managed to get in 6 teams.
And with 6 schools showing up to play in the Southern Zone today, a bright future lies ahead.
I think if we continue to include them in a weekly competition, I think they are going to better themselves, and in the bigger picture, the Fiji women rugby in Fiji is going to improve.
For the players themselves, they have a point to prove when breaking the barriers in schools rugby.
And I'm proud to represent my beloved school, because to show all the rest of Fiji that AG is one of the schools that is going to be well known on the girls rugby teams.
For some, competing alongside men's teams gives them a chance to show that women too can tackle this sport.
It's been such a great pleasure for being part of the girls rugby team, and also just want to thank all the supporters out there.
It's the start to many new beginnings for women in sport, particularly sevens rugby. A national competition spearheaded by the Fiji Rugby Union is expected to begin next month. Chalindau Zakadaka, FBC Sports.
Bar remains at the top of the Fiji Sun GP Batteries National Football League table after a fine win against Suva yesterday. The man in black defeated the Whites by 2-0. Finding the net was Marika in the 11th minute of play, while Malakai Tiwa sealed the win in the second spell. Also grabbing wins today in the Super Premier Division was Lambasa, while Rewa secured the biggest margin of the day. The youth competition proved uneventful, with draw results going all around. There was some Premier Division action witnessed today at the ANZ Stadium. Nasinu came out on top after defeating Tailevu Neitasiri 3-0.
We came back from winning the Fiji Fact, and we were having a problem in our training session. So unfortunately, the boys came back fighting in the second half, and we scored 2 goals, and we scored 1 in the first half. And we're not going to forget the Neitasiri is also a good team, and it was a good game.
Wins will be enjoyed for a short while, with Nasinu expected to get back to the basics on Monday. The ANZ Airports Fiji Limited annual volleyball tournament continues to be a hit this year, and it hasn't even started yet. Organisers in Nandi officially launched the event last night and received an overwhelming response from the sponsors and participating teams. Elena McDonald reports.
Being Fiji's biggest business house volleyball tournament, sponsorship increases comes as no surprise. ANZ has given organisers $15,000 in cash and $5,000 in kind for the 3-day event.
Confidence in the committee of the way we've organised and managed our games, and also for the difference that we've made and the confidence of the organizations and trust in the committee that we've had an overwhelming response.
With all the popularity around this tournament, sponsorship isn't the only area that's seen growth.
Officially for now we have about 87 teams, but registrations don't close till next week. We're anticipating to exceed 120, and we are gearing ourselves and putting in a contingency plan of setting out and laying out the courts in preparation for 140.
In fact, it's grown so much that even overseas teams have managed to join in.
We've confirmed Vanuatu and Air New Zealand from Auckland.
However, competitively, this tournament isn't all about winning. The money raised will go towards a certain charity, while funds will also go towards Nandi's Kachi Rugby preparations. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
Taking a look at the weather now, showers were experienced over the interior, eastern and northern parts of the group. Elsewhere, generally fine weather prevailed. Temperatures were wide-ranging across the country today, starting off with 25 degrees in Suva and topping off in Lambasa with 33. There will be rain in Suva, Lambasa and Savu tomorrow, with mostly cloudy periods in the Western Division. For Monday, rain and thunderstorms over Vanuatu, Taveuni and the Lau group. Elsewhere, some showers, especially in the afternoon or evening. Southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, rough seas, moderate southeast swells. The headlines once again. Commerce Commission confirms its national minimum wage survey will be complete well before the November deadline, paving the way for Fiji's first ever minimum wage rate. ILTB renews about 80% of expiring sugarcane leases. An LTA audits more than 1,000 buses around the country following a spate of bus fires. To the poll question now. Are public transport buses in Fiji safe to travel in? To answer, visit www.fbc.com.fj. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That was News Tonight. I'll be back with you again tomorrow. Modemanda.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है। 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली वेणु। सुनते रहिए मिर्ची एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।